Students, today we are going to see lesson 11, economics of development and planning. We will see what is economics of development and planning. A good plan may fail due to faulty implementation, but a faulty plan cannot succeed through good implementation. That is, plan your work for today and every day, then work your plan, by Margaret Thatcher. Now we will move on into the lesson. That is, first we will see about define economic development. What is defining economic development? Development must therefore be conceived as a multi-dimensional process involving major changes in social structures. First point, involving major changes in social structures. That is the construction of roads, dams, all these things. Next one, popular attitudes and national institutions as well as the acceleration of growth. These are the efforts must be taken by the government for the welfare of the people. The reduction of inequality among the race and religions and castes and communities. The eradication of absolute poverty must be taken over by must be seen and properly administered by the government. Next we will see about the mention the indicators of development. The indicators which are taken by the government are the gross, they take the process of gross domestic product, gross national product, GNP per capita income, human development index, that is about the improvement of health and standard of living of the people. Health means seeing during the flood time they are taking the measures to save the people, and standard of living means job opportunities, then the income increase, standard of living, new techniques will be used in households. And next one, social indicators like health camp, education camp, food facilities, water facilities, sanitation and housing facilities must be taken care by the government to the people. Next we will see distinguish between economic growth and development. What is economic growth? That is deals with the problems of developed countries, isn't it? Next one, change is gradual and steady. We are seeing about the economy, that is deals with the problems of developed countries. And change is gradual and steady. The changes means the improvement in the economy must be gradual and steady. Means more output, means more profit must be there in the production, and which gives a upliftment to the economy. Concerns quantitative aspects, that is increase in per capita income. So when the job opportunities are given to the people, their income will increase, so their standard of living will increase, and they purchase more products, and the tax will increase, and the income of the economy of the country also will increase. It has a narrow concept. Next we will see about the economic development. Deals with the problems of UDCs, that is underdeveloped countries. Changes discontinuous and spontaneous. Spontaneous means it's going on regularly. There will be no change or discontinuity in the economy. Means not only for more out, but also its composition. Composition means all these things, whatever is needed in the economy, will going on properly. The health, the sanitation, education, water, food, example. The quantitative as well as qualitative measures will be taken by the leaders, the government. Wider concept development is carried on in economic development, because to develop the economy of the people, the welfare of the people, that is wider concept development is equal to about the growth plus changes in the society. What is GNP? GNP is the gross national product, isn't it? GNP is the total market value of all final goods and services produced within a nation in a particular year. That is the market value of total final goods and services produced within a nation under a particular year, plus income earned by its citizens. The income earned by the citizens is the people in the country, the income of the people in the country, including income of those located abroad. Those who went for work in abroad, isn't it? They have assets in our country, so they pay tax, isn't it? They pay land tax, all these taxes. Asset tax, all these taxes you will pay. So including income of those located abroad minus income of non-residents located in that country. So this is called as GNP. And next one, define economic planning. As I told you, economic planning, for taking through an economy properly, the government must have proper economic planning. That is collective control or suppression of private activities of production and exchange. It tells about the economy position, the production. So production, distribution, exchange, all these consumption will come under economic activities, isn't it? This must be processed properly. So the government must take proper measures on collective control or suppression of private activities of production and exchange, or GNP is the total measure of the flow of final goods and services at market value resulting from current production in the country during a year, including net income from abroad. So these GNP and the production to exchange and consumption will be planned by the government, isn't it? Proper plan by the government. What are the social indicators of economic development? Already we saw in the front, isn't it? Economic development, social indicators, social welfare. It refers to as basic and collective needs of the people. What are the things needed for the people in the society? The direct provision of basic needs such as health. They need good health. So medical camp is needed. Education. Education facility must be given. Food, water, sanitation and housing facilities. Check social backwardness. That is about the religious caste problems must not be there in the community. All these measures can be taken only by the government and the leaders. Next, we will see about write a short note on Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog is a process that is replacement of Planning Commission in India. The Prime Minister is the chairperson and the Vice Chairman is the functional head of Vice Chairman is the functional head of the Niti Aayog. What is Niti Aayog? It's a process of social welfare, isn't it? It is a policy think tank of the government of India. It fosters the spirit of cooperative and competitive federalism. What is competitive and cooperative federalism? I'll tell you. That is, it's telling about the relationship between competitive and competitive federalism is that based on the relationship between central and state government. It's telling about the relationship between central and state government. So it is a policy think tank of the government of India. It's a fosters the spirit of cooperative and competitive federalism. It's telling about the relationship between the central government and the state government. Next we will see about the elucidate major causes of vicious circle of poverty. What is the purpose of poverty? Isn't it? So we will see first. The vicious circle of poverty. First is low per capita income. What is the purpose of low per capita income? You see the picture, the diagram. That is low per capita. When there is no opportunity, job opportunity, what is happening? There is no income for the people. At that level, what is happening? There is no level of demand. They can't purchase anything for their livelihood. They can't demand anything. So the low level of demand is there. When low level of demand, there is no slow saving. So there is low investment of the people. When they don't have an income or salary, what is happening? They don't have demand, they don't have savings and they don't have investment. Because of these decreases, what is happening? The low productivity is there. When the low productivity is there, the economic level will decrease, isn't it? So the income to the economy will decrease. First we will see about the supply side. Low level of real incomes causes low level of savings and in turn leads to low level of investment. So low income brings to low savings, to low investment and efficiency of capital. So the capital will decrease. So there is no income to the economy. This leads to low level of productivity and back to low income. So again there is no work, no labors, no income or no profit to the economy. Now we will see this demand side. Low level of real incomes causes low level of demand and in turn leads to low level of investment and deficiency of capital. This leads to low level of productivity and back to low income, which brings to poverty level. According to Ragnar Nurse, it is a common feature of less developed countries. It is in the features of less developed countries, isn't it? Some tribals will be there like that. We are developing countries and developed countries. What are the non-economic factors determining development? The non-economic factors are human resources. The human resources needed for the people are healthy, educated and skilled labor for increasing knowledge, skills and productive capacity of people. So what is the human resources needed for the determining development? Next one, contribute to growth. It includes expenditure on health, education and social services. Example, Japan and China. Technical know-how, that is the technical use in the sectors. That is Application of advanced technology steadily raise the productivity levels in all sectors and accelerate economic growth. Schumpeter supports innovation to develop the economy. So new technologies must be used in the products and new production must be made. That only will impress the consumers. So the production will increase and the income will increase and everything, the economy is also will increase. Next, the political freedom. The drain of wealth from India under the British rule was a major cause of the increase in poverty in India, so said by Dadabhai Nauroji in his book Poverty and British Rule in India. So during the British rule, we were in a poor condition, isn't it? The drain of wealth from India. They drained all the wealth from India. They took all the wealth from India to British countries. Under the British rule was a major cause of the increase in poverty in India, said by Dadabhai Nauroji in his book Poverty and British Rule in India. Social organization. Mass participation in development programs in precondition for accelerating the development process. If majority of the poor people do not participate in the process of development, isn't it? The poor people, mostly, for example, in voting also, poor people don't participate. It is called as crony capitalism. Crony capitalism means what? It is that an economic system characterized by closely mutual relationship between business leaders and government officials. So the poor people don't participate in anything and it is taken over by the rich people and the leaders and the dominating people. In such type of social organization, economic development is not possible. So the poor people also must participate in all the economic development, government programs, initiations and everything. They must understand. They must ask questions. The poor people also must ask questions. Why this is happening? Why they are not doing this? Corruption-free administration. That is, the leaders, the government leaders, the officials must not get corrupted. More corruption in the administration and tax evasion hampers the economic growth. You know, understand what's the word corruption, isn't it? Tax evasion means evading tax on the people more and more. On hampers economic growth. This also hampers economic growth. Desire for development. If the general mass of people has accepted poverty as its fate, some people will decide, we are poor, so we can't do anything, and they don't go for work, they don't earn anything, and will not have the desire to develop. There will be a little scope for development. So what will be happening? What is happening? The people are pushed down to poverty level only. Moral, ethical, and social values. It determines the efficiency of market. If people are not honest, market cannot function, according to Douglas C. North. Casino capitalism means if people spend large proportion of their income and time on entertainment, liquor and other illegal activities, isn't it? We oppose the taskmaster nowadays, the ladies mostly, because the men will drink and they will go to unwanted things. The economy will not develop, said by Thomas Piketty. So this is called as casino capitalism. So these are some of the economic needed for the economic development which must be overcome. Patrimonial capitalism, that is, if the assets are simply passed on to children from their parents, if the children is not working, they are not earning more, but they are taking only their parents' assets. If the children should not work hard without realizing the value of assets, the productivity will not increases, according to Thomas Piketty. He is an economist. How would you break the vicious circle of poverty? How to overcome the poverty level? Vicious circle of poverty, the circular relationship that tend to perpetuate the lower level of development in less developed countries. Supply side. Supply side means how the production is made. Rising investment rate and capital formation without reducing consumption by keeping the marginal rate of savings greater than the average rate of savings. That is, the marginal rate of savings greater than the average rate of savings. That breaks the circle from the supply side. Next we will see about the demand side. The strategy of balance growth suggested by NERSC. Simultaneously, investment in several industries increases the income of the workers by raising employment and turn increases demand for goods all in industries. The breaks of the circle from the demand side. So what is happening? Investment in several industries increase the income of the workers. So by raising employment and turn increases demand for all the goods and industries, this breaks the circle from the demand side. So when the people get work and employment and good salaries, what will happen? The poverty will be eradicated. Trace the evolution of economic planning in India, the planning systems in India. So we will see the plannings. Sir Vishwesvaraya in 1934 laying foundation for economic planning in India in 1934 through his book Planned Economy of India for 10 years. Next, by Jawaharlal Nehru in 1938, National Planning Commission was set up by Jawaharlal Nehru. Next, Bombay Plan in 1940 by 8 leading industrialists for 15 years. S.N. Agarwal, 1944, Gandhian Plan importance to agriculture and rural economy. So first you see all these you must learn. Sir Vishvesvaraya in 1934 laying foundation of economic planning India 1934 through his book Planned Economy of India for 10 years. And Jawaharlal Nehru 1938 national planning was set up about the national planning. Bombay Plan is leading the industrialists for 15 years. Next, S.N. Agarwal planning in 1944, Gandhian plan importance to agriculture and rural economy. Next, we will see about M.N. Roy 1945, People's Plan, that is mechanization of agriculture, production and distribution by the state only. So you see all the points, how the planning is planned. First, S.N. Agarwal plan is for the agriculture and rural economy, Bombay plan for industrialists, and M.N. Roy plan for agriculture production and distribution by the state. Next week, J.P. Narayan in 1950, Sarvodaya plan based on Gandhian plan, and India Vinoba Bhave, importance to agriculture, small and small cottage industries. So he is planning for the small and cottage industries and the agricultural planning. Setting up a planning commission for formulating 5-year plans by Jawaharlal Nehru, the first chairman of it. So the planning commission was started by Jawaharlal Nehru. Now we will see about the case for planning. What are the case for planning? To accelerate and strengthen the market mechanism. The planning in economy is for the accelerate and strengthen the market mechanism due to the existence of non-monetary sectors in underdeveloped countries. The market, you can learn these words. To develop the market mechanism is imperfect. The capital market and money market is unorganized. This necessitated the planning. The purpose of planning the market is to develop the market mechanism. To remove unemployment. The problems of disguised unemployment, shortage of capital and ever-increasing labor foreign underdeveloped countries, necessitated the need for planning to solve the above problems. So accelerate the market mechanism. What is happening next? Unemployment is abolished. To remove unemployment, to achieve balanced development. Planning enables a balanced development between agriculture and industry, social and economic overheads, expansion of domestic and trade sectors in underdeveloped countries. So how they are achieving the balanced development? It is development between the agriculture and industries, social and economic overheads, expansion of domestic and foreign trade sectors in underdeveloped countries. Next, we will see about the development of agriculture and industrial sectors. Agriculture and industry are interdependent. Reorganization of agriculture releases surplus labor which can be used in industrial sectors. Development of agriculture is important to supply raw materials through the industrial sectors. For example, cotton, isn't it? To make cotton textiles, cotton clothes, what is taken? Cotton is taken from the agriculture, from the trees. This can be done only through planning effectively. Next one, development of infrastructure. Infrastructure means the building of construction of roads, dams, water tanks, etc. Economic and social overheads involves huge capital investment, long gestation period, and low rate of return. This can be provided only by government through planning, as they are more important for economic development. Development of money and capital markets. Adequate financial institutions like money market and capital market in underdeveloped countries accelerate the growth of industry and trade. So how the development of money and capital markets are made? The adequate financial institutions like money market and capital market in underdeveloped countries accelerate the growth of industry and trade. So the sound financial system can be provided only by the government through planning. So these plannings will make the development in our country. To remove poverty and inequalities, by raising national income and per capita income, the government can reduce inequalities and poverty. The efficient planning instrument can increase employment opportunities also. So how they can remove poverty? By efficient planning instrument can increase employment opportunities too also. Next we will see about the distinction between functional and structural planning. What is functional and structural planning? First we will see about the functional planning. It refers to that planning which seeks to remove economic difficulties. What are the economic difficulties? The poverty and unemployment. It is that the functional planning directing all the planning activities within the existing economic and social structure. Next we will see about the structural planning. Structural planning refers to good deal of changes in the socio-economic framework of the economy. So these things are taken over by the government. This type of planning is adopted mostly in underdeveloped countries. Lastly, we will see about what are the functions of the Niti Aayog. What are the functions of Niti Aayog? You can see in page number 251 in your book. Okay, I will explain you in short. Cooperative and competitive federalism. That is to enable the states to have active participation in the formulation of national policy. Shared national agenda. To evolve a shared vision of national development priorities and strategies with the active involvement of states. So if you want to know in detail, you can learn from page number 251 in your book. And next one, decentralized planning. What is decentralized planning? To restructure the planning process into a bottom-up model. Next one, vision and scenario planning. Vision and scenario planning to design medium and long-term strategic frameworks towards India's future. Next one, network of enterprise. What is network of enterprise? To mainstream external ideas and enterprise into government policies and programs through a collective participation. Harmonization. Harmonization to facilitate harmonization of action across different layers of government, especially when involving cross-cutting and overlapping issues across multiple sectors through communication, coordination, collaboration and convergence among all these stakeholders. Next, we'll see about the conflict resolution. What is conflict resolution? To provide platform for mutual consensus to sectoral, interdepartmental, interstate, as well as the central state issue for all speedy execution of the government programs. Next, we will see about the coordinating interface with the world. That is, it will act nodal point to harness global expertise and resources coming from international organizations for India's developmental process. Next, internal consultancies. It provides internal consultancies to central and state governments on policies and programs, giving ideas to central and state government for the policies and programs. Capacity building. It enables to provide capacity building and technology upgradation across government, benchmarking with latest global trends and providing managerial and technical know-how. Lastly, we will see about the monitoring and evaluation. It will monitor the implementation of policies and programs and evaluate the impacts. These are the functions of Niti Aayog. So we will stop with this and we will start in the next class, the next part. Thank you students. God bless you all.